And hello. What's up, boys? Welcome to the Bases Loaded podcast by the Idiots Podcast Network. This is a new podcast coming to you. We just wanted to get something going for baseball. We figured, as avid sports fans, this is something that we've always really enjoyed, something that we really like, and, we just want to bring whatever we can to you guys, really try to enjoy this. So, I'm here today with idiot number one, Adam on my left. Adam, how you doing today?
Doing great. One day at a time equals one day closer to baseball starting. I'm happy.
Damn right, baby. I'm excited. So, on these first bunch of episodes, we're gonna have I believe 10 episodes in a row that are gonna rank the top five top 5 players at each position, regardless of league. We just figured that we'd do this, just try to set like a nice little mark just to see what we're thinking is going to happen throughout the season. These are the best players specifically from last year. The way we ranked these guys is that we ranked them with a lot of their previous 3 years really in our minds, and we wanted to say these are probably going to be the guys that are going to go into this season and really be the best players available. These are guys you might want to look up to pick up in fantasy if you have one guy ranked significantly higher over another, but maybe you're not feeling the guy who's supposed to take the big fantasy leap this year. You want to take a safer bet. This is definitely that place where we're just going to talk about the top 5 guys at each position. These are probably the best of the best, regardless of league. So, like I said, it's going to be exciting here. So, we'll get right into it. Today, we're going to start talking about starting pitchers. Obviously, this is one of the most important positions on the entire field of baseball.
Very much so.
Now, we're going to go from 5 to 1. Obviously, we haven't shared lists or anything, so it's going to be interesting to see what my partner over here has and what I have. We're going to do a little comparison, a little talking about it, and we'll go from there. So, Adam, would you like to kick this off at your number 5?
My number 5 starting pitcher of right now is Shohei Ohtani. And what I like about him is that in his MVP season, he had a 3.18 ERA, and then the next season, he drops that down to 2.33. The improvement that he is having as a starting pitcher is now amplified, and I think he's going to keep taking those steps forward to be a top pitcher in this league.
Now, I'll be honest with you, I really do like Shohei. I think he's a great pitcher, but I'm sure you have more to say, but I don't know how to feel about the longevity of this type of player right now. This is a guy who, gets 500-600 at bats, and this is a guy who also will pitch 25 plus starts, and that's a lot of wear and tear on somebody's body. I want to see him sustain it. This is a guy that obviously he's a ground-breaking player in baseball, but I'm going to be very intrigued to see how he goes going forward.
He's getting 28 starts last year, 23 the previous year, and he's getting 166 innings pitched last year. And I thought, that's not great, but with also 219 strikeouts in those 166 innings, that is impressive. That is impressive. And I really like what he has. If there's anybody to do it, it's him. I really love him.
No, I agree. Shohei is really he's a phenomenal player, a guy that no matter what is always extremely exciting, and really a guy that I love to see on the diamond. He makes baseball exciting.
Yes.
There's no doubt about that.
Most exciting player, I think.
100%. So, you got anything else you'd like to add about Shohei?
No, he's my guy, and I think he's going to even be better next year.
Fair enough. So, my number 5 is Zach Wheeler. Now, this is a guy, he's been pretty good for a long time at this point. He had a couple good seasons with the Mets. Obviously, he had to get Tommy John surgery, was sadly let go of. But now, on the Phillies, he's really been an absolutely phenomenal player. He's had 3 straight years of a sub-3 ERA with a defense that has been atrocious, unbelievably atrocious. He's really been able to kind of help that with his FIP. He does have dominant FIP, and I really like this. I like Zach Wheeler, man. Yeah. He brings a lot of good energy, and you know what? He's a good strikeout pitcher. He really gets the job done. Now, obviously, he only pitched 153 innings last year, but he did pitch in 26 games. So there is something to be said. He did go the the extra miles, and he did pitch in the playoffs. He pitched a lot of games in the playoffs, looked pretty good in those playoff games. This is a guy I could see, clearing 200 strikeouts on 170 innings, but he just needs to make sure he can get to those innings. Obviously last year is kind of an anomaly. He's really hit that 180 mark almost every year of his career. Yeah. So this is a guy I like going forward. On a very good team, a team that'll help him get a lot of wins going forward. They're going to hit the ball for him, which is something that, the Mets were never really able to do. But I'm really excited for Wheeler going forward into his age 33 season. This is this is his prime. This is as dominant as he's going to be, and I think
Yeah.
next year we're going to see on full display the most dominant form of Zach Wheeler, and it's probably going to be the last most dominant form of Zach Wheeler as I could see him slightly, going forward after this year, a little decline in
this
the
is his
future years.
prime. His 2021 campaign was incredible, and I was a little jealous of it. And
I think as Mets fans, we all were a little bit jealous of it. Are you kidding me? I wish we had him on our roster.
I know, the one that got away, kind of.
You know what? Out of that whole crazy staff, he was the one that got away. So that's our fives. Adam had Shohei, and I had Zach Wheeler. Now we'll move on to our number 4. Now, Adam, who do you have in your number 4 spot for starting pitchers?
Number 4, I have Sandy Alcantara.
Ooh.
I love this man. His last year campaign was incredible, to say the least. With 228 innings pitched, 6 complete games, with one of them being a shutout, keeping a 2.2 ERA and 207 strikeouts. That year was incredible. It's something you won't see often in this game anymore. The amount of innings he pitched, the amount of arm use he had, and the consistency of being excellent is something you won't see. And even before then, he was still becoming an above-average pitcher, still pitching 33 games the previous season, and always keeping an around 3 ERA. And then last year, he just turned it around and became amazing. And I think moving forward, that's exactly what you're going to see out of this guy. A man who's going to pitch a lot of innings, be a workhorse, a couple more complete games, and keep that ERA really low. I love this man. Hopefully the hitting around him and his team gets a little better. And I think moving forward, he's going to be somebody we talk about a little more.
No, I definitely agree. Now, my only thing with Sandy Alcantara is, obviously he's in his last 3 full seasons, I'm excluding the 2020 COVID year, he has pitched 200 innings.
Yeah.
And that's a lot of strain in a pitcher, especially a younger guy. I mean, we've seen him be very good. This is a guy I like, a guy who was very well deserving of the Cy Young last year. I wouldn't have given it to anybody else. And you know what? Like, I do like Sandy. I mean, this is a guy who's only had above a 3 ERA. I'm sorry, above a 4. He's only had a 4 ERA one time in his career. Everything has been a 3.0 and under.
Yep.
So he's a pretty electric pitcher. I'm not gonna lie. Now it's really gonna come down to how many wins can he get in this season. I mean, I know that's not always the most dominant stat, but I'm gonna say it's gonna be hard for him to get a lot of wins.
He went 14-9 last year, so I mean that is impressive on a team that was the Miami Marlins and probably the worst hitting team in the league. That's kind of impressive.
No, I definitely agree. I mean, the Marlins are a team that they kind of find a way to just scrap it together and make things work. They've always been very good at that. So it wouldn't surprise me if they could pick up some wins for Sandy. He's a great pitcher. And my favorite thing about him is really the fact that he can just do the complete games. I mean, you don't see that a lot from pitchers anymore. Nonetheless, 6 complete games in a season. I mean, that's absolutely phenomenal.
It's phenomenal. I think that stat alone is what makes this pitcher so incredible, because it's something you won't see. He's an old-fashioned pitcher that will go the distance, and I think he has the body type to keep doing that.
I mean, if you think about it, he was almost throwing a complete game almost every 5th start, just about. It was about like 5.2 starts. I mean, it's freaking phenomenal.
That is phenomenal.
Can't beat that. So you know what, Adam? Fair enough. You made your case for Sandy at 4, but I'm gonna go with a different guy at number 4. My number 4 is gonna be a new addition to the New York Mets, and Justin Verlander. Now, the reason why I'm moving Verlander down is obviously, he's going into his age 40 season. He's 2 years removed from Tommy John. I mean, obviously, that didn't bother him last year as he went on to win the Cy Young. But this is a guy who's, he's pitched a lot of innings over his career, over 3,000. So I'd like to see, really see him still be dominant. This is a guy who, he's played around with that 300 strikeout number. He's able to go out there and get it if he's able to pitch a 200 inning season. Now, I really like Verlander. I think on the Mets, he'll be able to keep dominating and get a ton of wins and really just be the pitcher we need him to be. Now, obviously, I'm expecting him to have a sub-3 ERA. I think it'll be somewhere in the 2s. I think he'll be sitting quite nicely. I really like Verlander. I really like him in his new fit, in his new home. I think there's going to be a lot of runs behind him, really, really helping elevate his game, making it, taking the pressure off Justin Verlander, a guy who, has always been good in pressure situations. He has great strikeout numbers. He's a great pitcher. He's a first-ballot Hall of Famer. To be honest with you, Adam, I'm more than happy to have him on the Mets, and I'm more than happy that he's on our top 5 list today.
Very excited. I love this man. I love everything about him. And the best part is, I have him at number 3 on my list. What sticks out to me is, first of all, he didn't play 2022 or 2020, and he didn't play 2021. So 2019 and 2020, he won the Cy Young. The past 2 seasons, he's won the Cy Young, and then the season before that, he was second in Cy Young voting. Last year, a 1.75 ERA. That's crazy talk.
It's dominant.
And with a 2.20 ERA plus, meaning he was 120% better than just the average pitcher. That's crazy. The stats that he was putting up last year were incredible. The only thing that sticks out to me, but also impressed me, is his strikeout rate was actually down a significant amount, yet it almost worked for him. He was playing very well. The defense behind him played really well. He got batters to hit weak balls instead of a lot of home runs. He was a very dominant pitcher. He was in control of every single game that he pitched, and that's what I love to see out of a pitcher. He is incredible, and he just won't stop. He won't go away. He's incredible.
No, I agree. I mean, something that's definitely huge for Verlander. It's been a problem for him in the past, and we definitely saw him, kind of turn that around. Was his home runs. His home runs allowed. It's been a big issue throughout his career, and we only saw 12 home runs on 175 innings. I mean, it's phenomenal. That's what we look to see out of a guy like Justin Verlander, especially going into a park that's not as home run friendly, as some of these other parks. That's going to be really good, really advantageous towards him, and I'm excited to see how it how it affects him moving forward. How this new kind of slightly down strikeouts, slightly down home runs is gonna shake out for him up in New York. Now, funny enough, Adam, my number 3 was actually Sandy Alcantara, because like you said, Sandy's a great pitcher. He's phenomenal. He's very young. He's going to be going on his age 27 season. This is a guy I expect to absolutely dominate the league. Now, am I saying he's going to get another Cy Young, throw damn near 2.0? No. I'm not saying he's going to be perfect. But what I am saying is that regardless of what happens, Sandy Alcantara will be a dominant pitcher and will be nearing the 200 strikeout range. So this is definitely a guy that I got pretty high on my list. And I think that if the Marlins do their Marlin magic as they normally do every season, they find a way to be the scrappiest team in the MLB, I expect Sandy, really be able to compete with the best of them.
When Sandy's on the mound, the Marlins just have to score 1 or 2 runs, and they should be fine. They should win every game that he pitches, because he's not going to get taken out. It's only going to be maybe 1 or 2 relievers that pitch the rest of the game. He sets them up for a win pretty much every time he's on.
Every time he hits the mound.
Every time.
If you're Sandy Alcantara and you're the Marlins, you expect 33 wins off the back of Sandy Alcantara. Now, is that reasonable to say? No. But, of course, that's an expectation of going into every game. You're expecting to go see Sandy Alcantara go out there, dominate, and pick up a W for your club. So, obviously, you just heard our number 3s, our number 4s and number 3s. Obviously, we swap places with them. So, we'll move on to our number 2s. Adam, I want to know, who's your number 2 in the baseball ranks right now?
Number 2, I have Corbin Burns. He is incredible. He has turned his game into something you won't see often, from what he was in 2019, just being a honestly bad starting pitcher, and changing it in 2020 and on, changing into this incredible pitcher and moving up into the ranks as somebody we talk about as a top 5 pitcher in this league. 2021 won the Cy Young with a 2.43 ERA, 234 strikeouts on just 167 innings. And then the following year in 2022, he gets his innings up at 202, strikeouts at 243, and still keeping a sub-3 ERA. I enjoy this man. His cutter is something everybody talks about. It is incredible. You watch him.
That cutter-sinker combo is really, really difficult for a lot of MLB players to even latch onto, nonetheless hit the damn ball.
It is dangerous, and he understands that, and he's a very, very smart pitcher. I think moving forward, he's going to keep the same stats up, be around the 200 innings pitch mark, below the sub-3 ERA, keep that intensity going. He's a great pitcher.
No, I really like that. He's a quality number 2. Now, I'm going to be honest with you. I'm going to talk about my number 2. I think we might have our number 2 and our number 1 again flip-flopped. And my number 2 is going to be Jacob deGrom. Now, my thing with Jacob deGrom really just comes down to, is he going to be able to pitch more than 12 games? I don't know. Obviously, without a doubt, when healthy and able to play a full season, Jacob deGrom over the past, I'd like to say, 3 to 4 years has been the most dominant pitcher in all of baseball. I mean, for the fact that the guy had a 1.08 ERA through 15 games with the New York Mets in 2021, that was unbelievable. I've never seen a pitcher so dominant, so forceful in his ability to just win games for his team. It's unbelievable.
Unbelievable.
I mean, this is a guy that's really going to be missed in New York, a guy that obviously, we all love. We're going to miss the 100-mile-an-hour fastball, to that beautiful changeup he almost never used because it was such a dominant pitch, to that unbelievable slider. I mean, this is a guy who has, he has a great pitch mix. Every pitch is somehow better than the last one. He dominates in the strikeout category. He dominates in every category. I mean, he's just a phenomenal baseball player. There's nothing else to be said about it. I'd really like to see Jacob deGrom be back healthy. Obviously, it's not for my New York Mets, so honestly, would I like to see him do a little bit worse? Yes, of course. But hey, best of luck to Jacob deGrom out in Texas. I think he'll really end up shining this year, doing pretty well, and I guarantee you will have one of the best, win-loss percentages of his career coming up this year.
I couldn't agree with you more, and he is in fact my number one pitcher on this list. When he does, again, you said it perfectly. When he plays, he's the best pitcher in baseball, without a doubt. You look at his past 3 years, even with the 12, 15, and 11 games played, he's still dominant in every single start, every single game that he plays. His strikeout rates are through the roofs. His ERA is down to the ground. And even before then, he was pitching 32 games, 31 games every year. I think the past 3 years, have hurt his reputation of staying on the field enough. But I think in Texas, he's going to play, an entire season, and he's going to be even better. He might be even better than he was on the Mets. I think he's going to be more comfortable.
Oh, don't say that.
I think he's going to settle into a place that not a lot of media. It's a lot more relaxed there. Baseball isn't really Texas's sport, so he's a little under the radar, and he's going to flourish. And I truly do believe that. And how can you not think that Jacob deGrom is going to be the best pitcher on a full season? I can't not think that.
I can think that because he's no longer on the Mets, I'm going to be honest. But that's okay. It is what it is. Now, funny enough, my number one is going to be Corbin Burnes, a guy who I really think we're going to see excel this next season. I mean, obviously, Adam was talking a little bit about his rocky start in the league, but this is a guy who, was coming out of the pen a lot of the times to really start his career. I mean, we saw for the first 2 years he was really a big pen guy. Finished 8 games in 2019, the worst game of his career, the worst season of his career, where he had an 8 ERA. But once he started actually starting games in 2020, we saw how dominant a guy like Corbin Burnes can be on a consistent basis. I mean, for the past 3 years, he's had a sub-3 ERA with extremely high strikeout percentages. This is a guy that I really enjoy watching pitch. He, similar to deGrom, it's like watching art in motion. I mean, it's just the way in which these guys are able to throw the ball and create movement. It's unbelievable. It's quite phenomenal. And I really hope that, we see a guy like Corbin Burnes move forward here, get a couple more wins, and just show why he's so dominant in this league. I think Corbin Burnes is going to be, honestly, my favorite to go win the Cy Young this year if we don't have a healthy deGrom.
That is very true. They also are in 2 different leagues, so you could have both of them winning the Cy Young this year.
That is very true. Very true. I kind of blanked on that for a minute. I'm not going to lie to you folks. But, otherwise, that's going to be it for our top 5 in the starting pitching market. Obviously, we have high hopes for these guys. We think these are going to be the top 5 guys in the league this year. So, we'll see what happens. So, come back next episode. Next episode, we're going to be doing, our top 5 relievers and / closers. We're very excited about that. We're going to be trying to pump out a couple episodes for you here, folks, to get this bad boy rolling. So, with that being said, I'd like to thank you for showing out today, coming and listening. Adam, you have anything you'd like to say to the folks at home?
I'll be back in the next episode.
Hey, fair enough. That he will. So, from us at the Idiots Podcast Studio, we'd like to thank you and say, have a good one, folks.